Hey folks, it's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Today is Wednesday, May 7th. Hope you're doing well. And in this video, we're going to dive into Green Thumb's Q1 2025 earnings. They just came out after the bell. Just posted a video on TrueLeave earnings as well. If you haven't seen that, you can check it out as earnings season continues. But they did miss in terms of their analyst estimates. So we'll discuss that. We'll also look at the chart toward the end. I'll give my thoughts and opinions on the technicals and what to expect in terms of the price action in the days, weeks, months ahead. But spoiler alert, it is a little bearish at the moment. Before we get to it, make sure to smash the like, help support me in the channel. And if you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell. You'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. And as always, try to be as transparent as possible. I do own Green Thumb stock in my portfolio, and this is not financial advice. Never buy or sell anything based on anything that I say or write. Follow us over on X as well, formerly Twitter. Handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. So we got Curaleaf and Cron tomorrow, but we had TrueLeave earlier today, and then Green Thumb just after the bell. So they reported their first quarter 2025, like I said, with earnings season in full force. So we'll go through some of the highlights here. They did miss, like I said, in terms of analyst estimates. They had forecast of revenue 283.75 million, came in at 280 million, and EPS came in at positive 0.04, and the EPS estimate was positive 0.045. So they did have a slight miss in terms of both. I would expect the stock to more than likely be down a little bit tomorrow as a result. But overall, not a bad quarter. There's been a lot of price compression and just overall there's been stagnation. There hasn't been a whole lot of movement. You know, when Florida didn't go through, that was a huge deal breaker for the whole sector. Everything was ramping up in anticipation of that. So we're just kind of seeing things fizzle out here a little bit, but overall pretty muted. If we bring up the revenue from last quarter, it was at 294 million. So it was down quite a bit there, quarter over quarter as well. So like I said, I would expect the stock to be down slightly tomorrow, maybe, a few percent. We had TrueLeave kind of with a similar, they had a beat in terms of revenue and then a miss in terms of EPS, and the stock was down around 2.5%. So I would expect maybe, down around 4 or 5% tomorrow, the most likely scenario. But overall, they had a strong cash position, 211 million at the quarter end. They had their CPG revenue increased 13.6% year over year, healthy cash flow from operations of 74 million. They continued their retail expansion with 2 new store openings, solid gross margin of 51.3%, strong presence in growing markets like Ohio and New York. But the retail revenue decreased 2.5% year over year. Comparable store sales declined 5.3%. Net income decreased from 31.1 million to 8.3 million year over year. And they were facing, like I said, price compression in key markets including Illinois, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Connecticut. We'll see what lawmakers can do in Pennsylvania to get that legalized. There's a good chance that happens as the next state, and it could potentially happen in 2025. If not, I would think at some point in 2026, that's going to be a huge market as well. Adjusted EBITDA margin declined from 32.8% to 30.5% year over year as well. So overall, not a bad quarter. Like I said, you can check out the entire report if you haven't already done so. But we'll move right along. So yeah, a little bit of a disappointing quarter with the results missing analyst estimates. I'm just checking my notes here as well to see if there was anything else I missed. I think I got pretty much everything. But yeah, there was the trading view estimates missing. If we take a look at the chart, you can see we do have a bearish continuation pattern that confirmed on the chart. So again, I'm thinking we could be down if we look at where we closed today, closed at 602. If we take a look at that measured move down to that target, that's around 4.5%. So again, I think somewhere around that 4.5% to 5% down tomorrow makes a lot of sense. And again, if we look at TrueLeave as a gate, if we gauge that, TrueLeave was down, 2.5% at the end of the day, and they had a miss and a beat. So this was 2 misses. So one would think, somewhere around 5%, and that's exactly what the chart is saying as well. A 4-hour bear flag confirmed, targeting which is about 4.5% away from the current close, and that's at 575. We did confirm the 4-hour downtrend as well with a lower high, lower low, and we could still see an EMA 12 and 26 bear cross there on the 4-hour time frame as well, signaling another potential move down. And we could potentially be heading toward 4-hour oversold in terms of the RSI. If we take a look at the weekly time frame, we are back testing the 10-week moving average. This is something that was lining up on TrueLeave as well. If we just bring this up real quick, TrueLeave, you can see here the 50 and the 100 weekly were set to cross bearish, and GTBIF, it's already crossed bearish. That increases the odds that TCNNF will more than likely see it as well. So I would expect the sector to be down, not a whole lot tomorrow. I would, like I said, somewhere around that 4 or 5%, probably on average for most names makes a lot of sense. In terms of the daily time frame, though, we are back testing the 50-day moving average, and we closed above it today, but I would expect us to lose it tomorrow. And then, like I said, there will be a lack of support on the daily time frame, and then, like I said, that 575 level, and then after that, there's no real price action support until 521. So we could easily, from current levels, we could easily pull back another 13% before we even come close to that price action support there as well. So again, very possible that we hit 4-hour oversold. More than likely not going to go straight there tomorrow. We'll see, obviously, if the broader market, if the S&P 500 is weak, then that could be headwinds for the sector, and things could be exaggerated a little bit more to the downside. But overall, we're still very weak. We're still in a weekly downtrend here at the moment. We're at least a month or two away before we see any real momentum shifting, in my opinion. These EMAs could cross bullish over the next few months on the weekly time frame. Again, we're a long ways before we see a golden cross there on the daily time frame. I would say at least a couple of months. A month, bare minimum, maybe 2 months is the most likely scenario there. And I mentioned in the TrueLeave video today that if we get some sort of reform with regards to safer banking, Terry Cole said that he wants to make rescheduling a priority. Didn't say if he was for or against, but he did say, he wants to follow the science, and I think we all know where that's going to go. And the HHS report, right, 200 and some pages. So the writing's on the wall. We just have to be patient, and I think what's going to lift us out of this bear market is going to be either safer banking or rescheduling. I can't see them attempting to deschedule right away. We'll see. You never know. You have the Prepare Act. You have the States 2.0 Act. That could effectively do that. But I think the most likely scenario is we get incremental steps, and again, get safer banking at least as a bare minimum. That's low-hanging fruit, in my opinion, and it makes more sense to me that they would get the Wall Street banks, the institutions positioned first before any meaningful reform in the U.S., right? Nothing in the world happens without those big, greedy Wall Street banks. But yeah, weekly time frame, we already had the weekly EMA, we already had the weekly stochastic and the MACD bull cross as well, and we're set to potentially lose the 10-week moving average. So we could come down here and tighten up, and like I said, see one more potential leg down. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we did see 575 tomorrow. On the monthly time frame, still a lot of work here to do as well. We're still in a monthly downtrend with lower highs and lower lows. There was a monthly bear flag forming on TrueLeave. I don't think that's the most likely scenario, but it's very possible. So we'll continue to monitor that. But in terms of green thumb, if we go from the high to the low there, when we confirmed that monthly downtrend, it was also a monthly bear flag. Whoops. And then if we take our measured move out to our 0.382 fib, it was saying we were targeting about 650. And we actually hit that level and then some. And it's really been brutal ever since Florida failed Amendment 3. It came darn close, but still, nonetheless, it did fail. So stocks have been punished ever since. And there was actually a weekly bear flag here as well that formed on green thumbs. You can see here we failed to get above that 0.382. And then, again, just take a measured move there from the high to the low. Move it out to your 0.382 fib. And, again, it was saying somewhere around that 578, and things got pretty ugly there for a while in a weekly oversold. But if it was a nice entry there, playing off of weekly oversold, anything considered 30 and below is considered oversold. And in terms of the weekly RSI, we got down to 21. So we're almost in the teens. But if you entered there just on weekly oversold, that would have been a nice swing there of about 55% of upside, just under 55%. So I say this all the time. If you know nothing about charts, if you just put in here your RSI, your relative strength index, and this is generally a good idea to buy, good time to buy, and generally not a good time to buy, and a good time to either go short or sell. So overall, still a lot of work to do. Monthly time frame, we still have to confirm monthly uptrends. We haven't even started the monthly bounce on the monthly time frame here yet. We have no resistance though until 1150. Once this monthly bounce does get underway, it's going to be a doozy. But I would say it's at least a couple of months. More than likely going to just take a backseat. Crypto, big tech, AI still continuing to steal the show. and I expect crypto to continue to steal the show here in the coming months, especially with crypto legislation being at the forefront, wanting to get a stablecoin bill done and market structure bill done before August recess. Wouldn't it be awesome if we saw some kind of banking reform and crypto legislation all in one bill? As you know, as a MJ channel and a crypto channel, I would love to see that, but I don't think that's the most likely scenario. I'm certainly not gonna hold my breath. But let me know your thoughts and opinions on these earnings in the comment section below. We'll continue the conversation there. It's Rod with Power Group. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth, and we'll see you again on the next video.